Okay, good evening, everyone. You're very welcome. Put up hands, all the children who are here that are going to make Holy Communion and their first penance this year. Are you sure? Good. Okay. Put up hands, all parents whose this is their child in their family to make first Holy Communion. Okay, a good lot. Put up hands for this who's the second. A good lot as well. And third. Okay, I won't go any further. Okay, but anyway, some of you have been here before down this road. That's great. It's really, really super to see so many of you coming tonight. It's super to see you coming on time as well. And hopefully we will get through this pretty quick. Is that okay? Just introduce Miss McGill over here, principal of Comunion National School, as you know, School Comunion. And this is Mary Dooley. Mary and Katrina and myself are members of the parish team. Katrina is here in a minute, she's behind the pillar at the moment. And to welcome our teachers then as well. Miss Shields, I think this is your 150th year to do First Communion. Miss Whelan as well, her first year. Miss Whelan from St. Felix School. Miss O'Regan, I know her by her first name, Roisin, O'Regan and Mrs. Daly there. So these are our teachers. Thank you very much for coming. Our teachers do amazing, amazing work with your kids. They've come here tonight and I just acknowledge them and thank them for being here with us tonight. Just a little thing to say as well. You all know when First Communion and First Penance is, don't you? You do. Okay, so please don't tell me I've only come tonight to find out the dates, because you have got them already and they've been out there in the public domain 2 or 3 weeks at this stage. I always remember my first time in a parish when I had my first Holy Communion meeting in a parish, went in and I immediately said the date of First Communion, and nearly 3/4 of the people then got up and left. So they were only interested in the date. So hopefully you're here because that's not your priority tonight. There's an awful lot of things to happen between now and First Confession and First Holy Communion. And that's the part that we really want to focus on and to tell you about tonight. We'll have loads of time to tell you about your First Holy Communion ceremonies, wherever they are in the May sometime. That's a long ways away. But we want to get cracking at our preparations because already the teachers are working on it. We want to start organising our parish programme as well. So, boys and girls, and mammies and daddies, and grandparents, whoever is here, we're going to begin as we normally do in God's house by we're going to say a little quiet prayer. Ready? In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. So, we all know this prayer, so let's pray it. It's going to be on the screen. You ready? O angel of God, my guardian, to whom God's love commits me here, ever this day be at my side, to light, to guard, to rule and guide. Amen. We're going to ask our guardian angel to be with us as we prepare for First Penance and First Holy Communion. Okay? We're here again, the middle of September, ready to start our program. And, you know, in the last few years, we've been changing our programs. We've been trying to do it differently or whatever. But the last few years, we have done it, and we're going to continue to do it. But we always like to quote Albert Einstein. What did he say? He said, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Why do I say that? Because we get together. Our hope from our parish and our schools is that these boys and girls will prepare well for communion. They will go to Mass, ideally every Sunday, but especially their preparation masses, and that they will prepare well in their schools and come to our preparation meetings. And then when they receive communion, they will get a love for Jesus in Holy Communion, and they will try to go every Sunday or as many Sundays as possible. That doesn't happen. Let's be clear, it doesn't happen. Last year, sadly, at some of the special masses, which are only once a month, and we'll give you those later, less than half of the children would turn up. So that was pretty disappointing for us to see that. And we hoped that they would try to go every Sunday. So we're still saying, could we possibly get different results or better results? But we keep doing it. Why? Because there is a cohort down here. There's a certain percentage who are really into their child's first communion. They already go to Mass every Sunday. Their child goes to Sunday school. Their child might be in the children's choir. They attend Mass as a family most Sundays. And for First Communion for their child, for them, is a very, very special moment. And we do it especially for these people. We do it for everybody, but especially for these people who see the faith as very, very important. Okay? So again, we're saying to you, try as best you can to join in the preparation programs and to make First Penance and First Holy Communion really special. And that you'll get such a love for the Eucharist and the Mass that you will want to make this part of your weekly schedule, coming to Mass as a family. And you know, lots of people probably don't go to Mass. They've fed up with the church. They've been put off by what they read and what they hear. Our hope is we want you to focus on the church as it should be, not in the negative way that it can sometimes be perceived. And it can be perceived some negatively. I remember reading an article of this woman. She was a journalist, and she was writing, and she said, there's no way am I letting my child make First Holy Communion. I'm not let my child even be baptized. I don't want to have anything to do with the Catholic Church. And then she didn't get her child baptized. And then when it came to First Holy Communion, the child said, Mammy, but I would love to make First Holy Communion with the rest of the children. And so for the sake of the child, she said, okay. And went to the priest, said, yeah, you'll have to get your child baptized, and that's fine. And then they had a lovely baptismal ceremony and a lovely First Communion ceremony. But she wrote very clearly, she said, the church that I perceived, the church that I left is completely different than what I see now. And I want you to think the same way, that maybe the negative perception you have of the church and of faith and of God, maybe this would be your opportunity to maybe look again and see maybe something maybe different is happening there as well. Okay? So maybe for parents, this could be a special moment for you. At your child's baptism, you made a promise that you're going to bring your child up in the Christian faith. The fact that you're here tonight, you're taking that seriously. So hopefully this year, for you parents, can be a very special year in your own faith journey as well. Okay? So we do focus tonight on First Holy Communion a little bit. We'll have another meeting where we will focus on First Confession because just equally as important. And First Eucharist sometimes is called. What does Eucharist mean? Or where does it come from? Well, it comes from the Last Supper. Just going to get a little history lesson. It won't take too long to do this, so I won't bore you too much. At the Last Supper, Jesus gathered with his disciples. And he was celebrating what's called a Passover meal. All the Jews, even today, celebrate a Passover meal, celebrating the fact that Moses led the people out of Egypt. Okay, that's what to celebrate. But Jesus was a Jew. He celebrated the Passover meal. But now he said, from now on, he said, the bread that they eat is going to be his body. Wow. It's going to be his body. Not going to be bread anymore. It's going to be blessed, and it's going to be his body. And then he said, take this and eat it, for this is my body. Then he said, take this and drink. He took the wine, and that's going to become his blood. And then he said, do this in memory of me. That's what happened at the Last Supper in a nutshell. Jesus took the bread and said, from now on, this is my body. And then he said, this is my blood. And then he said, do this in memory of me. So first communion for these children is them receiving Jesus. And he wanted his followers to recognize him in the breaking of the bread. That's what Jesus wanted his followers to do, to recognize him in the breaking of the bread. And so that's what we do. And I'm not saying that that's an easy statement for me to make or for you to understand, because sometimes I don't understand it. This is where faith comes in, that we have a love of something that we can't understand, but we take it into our hearts. And that Eucharist can be so, so powerful. I go around and giving communion to the sick and housebound, as many other of our lay people do as well, and particularly people who are dying. And I know when I give them communion, they get physically stronger and spiritually stronger. You can notice in it when they receive Jesus, because their belief is that this is Jesus who is giving them strength. And you might think I'm mad up there saying that, but maybe I am. But at the same time, it's something I believe very strongly in. The Mass, the Eucharist, is actually Jesus. And then when the apostles when Jesus went back to heaven, the early Christians took the message of Jesus to heart. And this is how the early Christians lived. I'm going to invite Mary just to read a little piece from the Acts of the Apostles.
So, the whole community remained faithful to the teaching of Jesus, to praying and celebrating the Mass together. The Christian community all lived together, and they shared everything in common. They sold their goods and possessions, and then shared out the proceeds with everyone according to what each one needed. They always went as a community to church, where they celebrated Mass. They shared their food gladly and generously. They praised God, and so were looked up to by everyone.
Thanks, Mary. Imagine the early Christians were looked up to by everybody. Why? They went out into a barbaric Roman Empire world. And this group of new Christians were looked up to by everybody because the way they lived their faith. And three things were the hallmark of their faith was they used to pray. That comes through in our reading. They prayed. They celebrated Mass, so they met in their homes for the breaking of the bread. That's the way they said Mass. Then when the temple was built, they came to the temple to celebrate Mass. And thirdly, they looked out and cared for one another. So that's the hallmark of a Christian community. We pray, and hopefully you use every opportunity you can to pray with your child. We'll talk more about that. Then it's the Mass which we're focusing on tonight. And the early Christians celebrated Mass, and right up during penal times, and every year we have Mass out in Keelog and Kileshin at the Mass Rock. That's the time when Christians used to gather even at the pain of being persecuted if they were caught, jailed, or maybe even executed. And right up to today, where we celebrate Mass every Sunday here in St. Clair's or in Holy Cross Church. That was something that was so important to Christians. It's part of our DNA. It's not an optional extra. I'm going to say that again. It's not an optional extra for us as Christians. It's what Jesus asked us to do. Imagine in penal times or in olden times, Mass was celebrated in Latin. The priest had his back to the people, like that altar back there. And still people came because they knew what was happening on the altar was Jesus amongst them. And Jesus had asked them to do it. So it's much easier for us. We have Mass in English, we have choirs, we have all the different ministries, and we try to make it as life-giving as possible. And so that's where Mass has come from. It goes way back, and that's why we encourage you to maybe see that and maybe love the Mass. We will be going through it a bit deeper in our next meeting, but just to understand where Mass has come from, okay? And that's what we're going to talk about. So I'm going to invite Mary now to talk a little bit about there's 3 stands of preparation.
So hello everyone, so my name is Mary and you'll see me around the church when you come for your special Mass on the Sunday once a month. So I'll be here working with Katrina to just be a support for you. So if you have any questions or anything, ask us and we'll try and answer all of those questions. So if you look up here at the sacramental preparation, you'll see there's a triangle. And what you'll notice is that we have home, school and parish. So none of them are bigger than any other one. So the three of them are really, really important when it comes to sacramental preparation. So the first thing we look at is the school. So school is very important because this is where you get the support for what you teach your children at home. So when the schools are working with the Grow and Love program, so you'll see little exercises coming back home to be done, and also you'll see the links from the Sunday Mass that will be talked about in school, that your child will be ready then for the next Mass that we all meet together as part of our preparation this year. So the children will watch morning Mass as well online and attend Mass where possible. So this is the support that the school are giving us as a parish, which is great, and we're indebted to the two wonderful schools we have and the wonderful teachers that are committed to working so well with your children and with the parish to ensure that we have the best Holy Communion Day when it comes around next year. So moving on then, that's one of the parts of our triangle. So then it comes to your part then, the home. And even if we look, not to get too technical, but the Irish Constitution says parents are the primary educators of our children. So we're first, and what they see at home is what they will copy. So we are tasked with the responsibility when it comes to faith of making it part of everyday life so that it's not something strange or not something that the children are uncomfortable with. So what can you do as parents? Well, you can do little prayer with your child at home, and they'll be learning this year their prayers for Holy Communion. And we all know the best way to learn anything is rote learning, even back in a long time ago when we were in school. So do it over and over again with your children. They'll get so used to it. Then create a sacred space. So what's a sacred space? Don't be scared. It can be a windowsill, a little table, a little piece of a board, anything. And this will be the start of your child's journey now for Holy Communion. And you'll see little examples of sacred space there. So the first thing that you will get then, you might put the baptismal candle in it, any holy things you've got from Lourdes or any medals. And then as the year goes on, you'll get stuff every Sunday here in church, and that will then go into your sacred space. And Father then, as it gets nearer the celebration, will come to visit if you would like. And he loves to see the sacred space and everything that the children have built up over the year. So there's some examples of the sacred space. So you see every child's sacred space is different. And the first thing that they will have is their little commitment, which we will be talking about, a little form they have to fill in to commit. So then we have to learn to listen to what they say in school and try and answer their questions. And children are sponges, and they love if you bring them into the church and you show them the Stations of the Cross and show them the tabernacle, and maybe on Sunday the different colours that Father is wearing when he says Mass, and does that mean something when he wears green or red? So there's so much to learn, and we together can learn as well with them. So listen to their questions and help them in the preparation of the little bits they get for Holy Communion. And then the parish. So this is where we come in. So we're blessed that we have such a great parish and a great support in Father and Katrina. And there's nothing that they wouldn't do to make your day special. So as a parish, there's every Sunday at 11:30 Mass. If you're not familiar with it, there's a Sunday school. And we could have 30, 40, sometimes more little kids come up here every Sunday at 11:30, and they go in the back and they learn about the gospel in child-friendly language. And it also gives parents a chance to enjoy Mass. So the kids then get their little activities and they learn the little gospel stories. But this Sunday school is on every Sunday, but there's a family Mass. And the family Mass is on, if you look here, at Holy Cross at 10:15 and in St. Clair's at 11:30, the first Sunday of every month, right? But this is dedicated to First Holy Communion program. But these Mass times are family Masses every Sunday. So when you have your special Mass, you have to come and stay in the church. But every other Sunday, you can go into the Sunday school. So that's great. But on the special Sundays that we'll give you the dates for, you have to stay in the church because there will be little things for you to do and there'll be a little gift for you and Father will be calling you up. But every other Sunday you can go to the Sunday school. And that's the little gift that you will receive every month at the special Mass. Oh yes, you may be asked to bring some artwork to your monthly Mass. And this is where you'll be working with the schools, and this is where that will then eventually go into your sacred space. So it's linking up, and you'll have to just keep an eye on what they need for their Sunday Mass, and just try and be here every Sunday, because it is important that the children love to get the gifts, and they love to see what everyone else is here. Father is here, and he'll talk to them about the gospel and everything. So from January to May, the First Communion children will stay in the church and not go to Sunday school on their special day. Every other day, then, they can. I think that's it, is it? Oh, Katrina's going to talk to you about the children's choir and how the children can get involved in that.
Hi, everybody. So our St. Clair's Children's Choir, we have two choirs. St. Clair's Children's Choir, they sing at Mass here. That's why they're called St. Clair's Children's Choir. And then the Collection Children's Choir sing in Holy Cross. And they both sing for your special Mass. So if your child is interested in singing or playing an instrument, it'd probably be a good time to start because they're going to be here anyway. And when you're here in St. Clair's, you can they can sing up with the choir, and then our youth leaders will bring them down so that they won't miss out on the special moment down around the gospel time. They'll get their gift like everybody else, and they won't miss out on anything at all. Then they'll be brought back up to continue on their singing. All right? And the same in Collection, in Holy Cross, they will sing down behind the organ, and then they'll be brought up and back down to the choir as well. Obviously, you won't be singing on your big day, on your first confession day or your first communion day, but there's lots of masses and moments in between that they get to sing at. So it'd be really special if you would like to join the choir. You're more than welcome. St. Clair's Children's Choir practice every Friday, and they're back starting fresh this Friday again after the summer break, 3:45 to 4:45. Last year we finished up for the summer break with about 45 kids in that choir, and they're amazing and they love it. They live for it. The youth leaders in that choir were also children that have come up the ranks and are now leading the choir. So it's really a lot of fun, and they're very, very good. So if you'd like to come along to St. Clair's Children's Choir, you don't have to be from Cullen. It doesn't matter where you live. You're welcome. We have people from all over the place coming to that choir. And then moved on to Collection Choir. They practice in school. Is that clicking off? Sorry, Mary. This one? Oh, sorry. Just do this. Just do that instead. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, technical difficulties. Collection Children's Choir, they practice in school with Miss Dempsey, but they'll sing at your special Mass as well. All right? So that's the difference between the two choirs, just the church they sing in and where they practice. Great Cullen, St. Clair's Choir practices in the parish centre, whereas Collection School practice in school time. All right? So we'll click on to the next part. You're very welcome, and that welcome is to everybody. Any siblings as well. Anyone from junior infants up is welcome to join the St. Clair's Choir anyway. Now, we do have every year a group of parents in each school that would help us look after a few different roles for the year. And I'm looking down and I already see some parents that have been in this group already with other kids. You are not obliged to join again, but we'd be delighted to have you. And thank you to those who have already expressed interest in helping out with this. It's a really fulfilling role, and it's really lovely for you to do it for your children, but it's a great help to us as well. So I'll just look at a couple of the things that we would ask you to do in this role. One thing is, Mary did mention, they might sometimes be asked to bring some artwork to Mass. And if that's the case, we'll link up with the teachers and we'll link up with you and say, would you mind getting those pieces from the school, bringing them down, putting them on a board, displaying them for a certain Mass. It won't be every month, but it'll be every now and again. For example, in November, we like them to colour in a candle and write the name of someone that they're missing from heaven and praying for them in their month of remembrance for November. That idea, okay? It's very simple, but very important. That's one part. Every monthly Mass, the first Sunday of every month is their monthly Mass, and you'll have all those dates at the end of the night in an envelope for yourself. But at that Mass, the First Communion children will bring up the offertory. And just for that to be organised, it would be great to have a group of parents to make sure everyone gets a turn, or at least everyone was asked, so it's fair, okay? We can do that, but, you know, you're here willing to help. Why wouldn't we take your help? So we're delighted to have you take part in that. So we'll give you a list once we have everyone registered, and you just tick them off as you go through the months, and it might very well get closer to the day and you realise people are away or people have already done it but they're here all the time, then they might get a second turn, and that's absolutely fine. But we do it the fairest way possible. The fairest way is to have everyone involved, not just leaving it to us, okay? So that's just 4 kids for the First Communion Mass carrying up the offertory. Very simple. And you just give us the names so we can add them to Father John's list before Mass so he can welcome them up and thank them when they're finished. And then, as Mary mentioned, we do give out a little gift to the kids during their First Communion Mass, and the parents on that little committee will be the ones to hand those out. So it just means holding a basket at the front here, making sure they only take one, not one for the whole family, and just keeping a bit of smocked on the whole thing. That's it, all right? So that's just one little way to help us. And one more thing, I think, is that if you're wondering how to sign up, and I'm sure you're all dying to, there's a little piece of paper on every desk here with the teachers, and just feel free to stick down your name and your number. Yes, we will have your name and your number from the registration form, but we might not get through all those forms tomorrow, whereas we could have your name and number tomorrow and have it all set up by tomorrow, if that's all right. If you're interested, it's not a big job, but it is an important one, and we'd be very grateful if you wouldn't mind taking part in that. Thank you very much. Is there anything more for me, Mary? Oh, registration forms. Yeah. Just go on to it for a second. So, I know you're all here because you want to register your child. So we're going to ask for the help of the teachers now. And we're going to distribute the registration forms throughout the church. You're going to get a pen and a piece of paper. And I'm going to talk you through the form as best I can once everybody has one. We'll go through it step by step, and this form will stay here tonight. You don't need to bring it home, okay? Everything will be done here tonight. We'll have it all over, and it'll be registered by tomorrow, okay? So for a minute, we'll just get those distributed. Okay, everyone. There's a few more coming out. I think a few got lost along the way. Don't worry, if you're missing one, they're on the way out to you. I'll go through it very slowly. So I need your silence for that, please. Shh. I'll go through it as quick as I can. It is fairly self-explanatory, but just in case you do have any questions, it's a good time to ask. So you'll see at the first part of it. I'll wait. Okay. So, primary school, St. Felix, or Collection S, or I know that we have others from other schools and some homeschool as well. You're very welcome, and you can just stick it in there. We'll know who you are. Teacher's name, if applicable. First name in block, clear capitals. We're really sorry when we get names wrong on lists when it comes to communion, so we want to make sure this year that we don't get any mistakes. So nice and clear, as best you can, fill in the first name and surname. Okay, shh. Can we take our seats, please, if no jumping around? Thank you. This part is where a lot of confusion can happen sometimes, but it's actually quite simple. So if you pay attention, I'll tell you very quickly the way it works. If your child was baptized in St. Clair's, this church, or in Holy Cross Collection, then tick the box. And if not, let us know what church, and then you'll just have to send us in, like someone already emailed me in tonight, a photo of the baptismal cert, or a photocopy, drop it in, whatever way you want to send it to us, just let us see proof of the fact that your child was baptized. And if you don't have one, you just have to contact the church where your child was baptized, or the parish centre, and they will arrange it for you. And we just need proof of the fact that your child was baptized. So we don't need any originals or anything like that, just proof. Is that one okay? Thank you. And one last part on this. If your child has not yet been baptized, that's okay. It's really lovely that you're making the decision to make your first confession and your first communion, and we'll make sure you can make that happen by helping you with your baptism day. So there'll probably be a few different kids for this, and we'll arrange a special ceremony where you will be baptized. And because you have to be baptized before you receive your first confession or your first communion. Okay? So Father John will make sure that happens before your big day. Is that all right? Just tick that box and we'll know to follow up with you and we'll make it happen. Okay. And on the back of the form, self-explanatory, 1 or 2 parents' names, and please let us know which parent, or both, that will be added into the WhatsApp group. There may be 2 homes, 2 houses, or maybe you just both want to be in the know, and that's absolutely fine. If you tick that box, we will add both of you in. And if you put one name and don't tick the box, we'll only add that person in. So if you're left out of the loop, it's not our fault. All right? This is a one-way messaging system. It is only for us to give you updates on slight changes to the program or reminders about the program. It's not a conversational WhatsApp group. I'm sure lots of you are in these kind of groups now. And it's basically just one way, myself or Mary, letting you know something that Father John wants us to pass on to you, or reminding you about dates in the program. That kind of thing. Very, very simple stuff. And then your address obviously goes there too. Because we will only hold this for the year. Okay, which is all covered in our data protection consent there. And that's not just about data protection and privacy, but it's also about your commitment to the program, because you're here because you're going to support your child. So we want you to sign up for that, just like your child is saying yes, they want to make their first confession, and yes, they want to receive their first Holy Communion. You are here signing up to support them. So your consent is needed too. All right? So that's your form. You are welcome to scribble away as you like, but I'm sure by the looks of it you're all finished already. We have one last part, and this is really important. At the end of the meeting you will be bringing that registration form forward. Okay, you'll have time because there'll be a bit of a queue for each teacher. There's 5 tables up the top and your teacher's name is on the end of the table. Miss Whelan, Miss Shields, and our 3 teachers from St. Felix. I'm not sure which order they're in, but Miss Regan, Miss Daly, and Miss Whelan as well, 2 Miss Whelans. So make sure you go to the right table. So that registration form will be left here tonight. That's all you need to know. And we'll make sure we get you registered and added into that WhatsApp group. Okay? All you have to do is fill it out as clearly as you can. And now listen to Father Jean for this very last part, which he's going to explain about the sacramental pack, which you're going to get once you hand in your registration form.
Just on the forms as well, don't take one for anybody else. The teachers won't accept one from anybody else, because if anyone can't make it tonight, we want to make in contact with them. And this meeting is being recorded, so we wanted to make sure they get to hear everything that you got to hear as well. Okay, so we're nearly there. We do have for you a pack. It's in a white envelope, and there's a number of things in it. The first thing in it that you see is a little mass book. This is a mass book that we produced ourselves in the parish, and it's actually very, very good in the sense that all the prayers are there, but the explanations of all the prayers are there as well. So during your masses on a Sunday, especially your special masses, parents, let their child bring this to Mass, and you help them as you go through the prayers. It's a way of getting you involved, getting your child involved, because when you pray out the prayers, you're really, really involved in the Mass, and it goes much quicker as well. So take one of these with you as well. Hopefully soon we will have screens in Holy Cross. We don't at the moment. We do have screens here. The prayers will also be on the screen, so you can join along as well. Also there we have little prayers. Little sheet of prayers that you can pray in your holy place. We mentioned that earlier. For you, act of sorrow, prayer for forgiveness. A lot of the prayers that they're going to be learning for their first Holy Communion and first penance. So maybe use that. Help them to learn their prayers, because that's so important for their teacher's work as well, that you work on that. And then we're going to give them 2 calendars. The first one is, and you can put it up as a 2-sided thing, it's a parish of calendar of events for everything in our parish, right through to the cemetery masses, to the pet's blessing, to carol services, to Christmas masses, Easter, all of the different things we do have in the parish. It'd be nice for you to take one of these home, follow along, tick off the little ceremonies, and maybe some of them you say, yeah, I actually might like to go to that ceremony as well. So that's going to be in it. Put that on your fridge. Definitely put this one on your fridge. This is a list. I have the collection one here, but there's one for each school, and each teacher will have in their pack the one for your school. And in that, it is the whole program list. Every date. We have 3 meetings like this. This is the first. We have all the first preparation masses are on it. The first, that's really... And it's, without exception, it's the first Sunday of every month. 10:15 in Collection, 11:30 here in St. Clair's. And then your first confession ceremonies, your first Holy Communion ceremonies. So that's there for you to keep track of what's happening as well. I'm highlighting a little bit that we're St. Felix and Collection National School. We do have others here who are actually not from either of these schools. You're welcome as well. I should have acknowledged that your presence as well, because it's the church side of the program we emphasize. And then the parish calendar, let me go and see what's next. And then your first Mass. Your first Mass will be on the 5th of October, which is the same day as the Pet's Blessing, by the way, in the afternoon as well, just to let you know. So the first Sunday of October is your first Mass. The teacher will give you one of these sheets. It's your certificate of commitment for your child. Please take it home, fill it in, and the teachers will help you as well. Fill in, I'm in preparation for my first confession and my first Holy Communion. I hope to grow closer to Jesus by, and maybe name 3 or 4 little things that your child, you children, talking to you now, can do to help you to prepare well for first Holy Communion. My name is, this is what I'm going to do, and then you sign it, and the child signs this thing. So you get that, bring it to that first Mass. They'll be blessed in the church here. The child will take it home, put it in their sacred space, and if you ask me to come along, I will check and see, are you doing the little things you promised to do? I'm only kidding you, I won't be checking on you, but it'd be just nice for you to check yourselves. Is that okay? So that's in it as well. And Finally, there's just a little envelope. Everything comes down to money. We don't charge. Let me say this. Most parishes now are charging for the sacramental programs. We don't. But it does cost us about 200,000 or more to run our parishes every year. The 2 churches, our buildings, wages, electricity, all of the things. But in particularly to run the programs. And we're giving out gifts every month as well. So if you want to, there's one of those little ones in it, in each pack. If you would like to make a donation to us, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine too. So don't go out and say you're being charged. You're not being charged. If you'd like to leave a donation, the only way we can survive is for people to give donations. So there it is, a small little envelope, but there's still plenty of room for about €650. They can sneak into that if you want to put it as well. But anyway, that's just an aside. If you'd like to do that, bring it into one of the masses, put it in the basket or drop it in or whatever. And we do appreciate to keep our programs going. And then, just to highlight again then our first communion ceremonies, which we're all mad for. So I'm very impressed by the numbers here tonight, so I'm not sure about numbers. But in Holy Cross, it's Saturday the 16th of May anyway. 2 times, 10:30 from Miss Shields' class and 12:30 from Miss Whelan's class. Was that by the toss? Toss of a coin, they got that there. So anyway, Miss Shields like getting up early. So they're the 2 times, so you can work around those. Not that important yet. I know there's hair appointments and hotel appointments, part of it, but we're focusing on getting ready for it. In St. Clair's then, Saturday the 23rd of May, the following Saturday, we don't know if there's going to be 1 ceremony or 2 ceremonies, because we don't know yet who's going to sign up. We will let you know as soon as possible. Last year, the numbers were such that we were able to have 1 ceremony. Other years, the numbers were such that we had to split them into 2 ceremonies, just like Collection. If there's only 1 ceremony, it will be at 11 o'clock. If there's 2, it'll be 10:30 or 12:30. We will let you know as soon as the deadline is over for registration. Is that okay? Which will be in the next few weeks. Are you clear on that? Okay, and just to say as well, in the way the climate we live in, you don't have to make your first Holy Communion or your first penance. You can leave it until a later date. We're living in a world at the moment where I think last year only 38% of weddings took place in a church. So that's a lot. That 62% took place in a secular setting. More and more funerals are not coming to churches anymore. So the same with communion. We want you to make a genuine decision. It would not make sense for you, child, or you to make your child's first communion if you never go to Mass, or if you don't believe in God, or if you don't believe in Holy Communion. What's the point? Be honest with yourselves and be honest with you. But we are putting a deadline this year, and the deadline is Friday the 3rd of October. That's 2 days before our first preparation Mass. Anybody who's not registered by then, now you all will be because you're here, but let the word out to anyone who can't be here tonight. That's the final date. Last year we found families coming to us after Christmas, even before First Communion. They want, we didn't know. We get the message out there. Unless it's exceptional circumstance, a child moves into school or, from another school or whatever. That's the deadline. If children wants to make First Communion after that and they come to us, we will tell them, come back next year. We won't refuse you, but you must take part in the preparation program. It's not fair on all of those who put so much into it and preparing themselves all year round. So get that word out. If you know of any parents who think they're just going to slip in the last minute, that will not work this year. So that's your final deadline, Friday the 3rd of October. That makes sense? Everyone? Okay, good. Okay, good. You're in agreement with there. I think we're finished, and we can, yeah, just the final prayer, is it? Yeah. Okay, just to say thanks again for coming. If you want to chat, I know there's some children not baptized, but they would still like to make your communion. We'll talk to you. That's no problem, but we want to see how you take part in the program first and foremost. That's part of it as well. Okay, so thank you for coming. Thanks to the teachers. A huge thank you to Miss McGill, Mary, Dooley and Katrina for the huge work that they're putting in for your child's preparation. Please honour that. Respect that great work, and I hope you will take part. We're really looking forward to the program. It's a great buzz about it. As lovely masses, when the children come up, I can chat to them and we can bless their little objects and they can answer me or whatever as well. So we look forward to all of that. So let's finish then. Boys and girls, you know this little night prayer. So let's all pray together. You ready? God our Father, I come to say thank you for your love. Wow. Well done. Give those children a good clap because that was just brilliant. So well done, guys. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, and just as well, just finally, we want you to come up to, here's the Miss Staley, Miss Whelan, Miss Regan, Miss Shields, Miss Whelan. So they're from Collection. Their names are on it. Come up, wait for a second, wait till the teachers get into position. Parents, you come up, don't send up your child, you must come up yourself. Please sign in to become on the parents' committee as well. Okay, thanks.